racing to the massive roar of the crowd. Lady of Camelot, a spectacular win in the Golden Slipper. Chain of Lightning, Bella Nipotina. Chain of Lightning's won the TJ. Bella Nipotina wins the Everest. A thriller there at the end.
With Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook, this is Racing Dreams.
And here we are on a sparkling day in Sydney, 28, 29 degrees, the final day of the Autumn Carnival. And Jules, it's our final show for the season.
It is
We'll be
indeed.
back in spring, but it's our final day for
And
Autumn.
good morning to everyone at home on this Easter long weekend. Glorious conditions here in Sydney for another day of racing. And of course, a glorious show coming up. Take a look. 2.0. Are we seeing the next Chautauqua, the mighty grey, bursting into Everest contention? We catch up with Wayne Hawkes on star sprinter Briasa.
We catch up with one of the leading international bloodstock agents, Johnny McKeever, of course, purchased some of the superstars we've seen in Sydney this autumn.
And from Olympic eventers to stars at the track, we meet the man who works with some of the best performance horses in the country, Equine vet Dr. John Walker.
Yes, so we've got a show. We're going to cram it all in.
We are on a tight schedule today. The Sydney Autumn Carnival is coming to an end with all-age stakes day. It's another big day for one of our favourites on the show. Good morning to you, Gary Portelli.
Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Good, real good, and you could be even better by the end of the day. You've got you've got not a full book, but you've got a lot in, including Komochi, of course, and this is quite a race.
Yeah, proud of our team. We've only got a small team compared to some of the bigger stables in Sydney. We've got 45 horses in work, and to have four in, on a day like today is a big achievement by the team that do all the work here at the stables, and obviously the owners that give us the opportunity to train these horses. So to be part of it's a big thrill, and what a big day it's going to be today.
Komochi in the all-age stakes finished sixth in the TJ. How did she pull up from that run? What do you make of this field?
Yeah, she pulled up really well, but this is a really deep Group 1 race, and I've said previously before today that once I saw the acceptances, it's probably a race if you had 5 different barrier draws, you could come up with 5 different winners. It's going to come down to luck in running. We've drawn a bit awkwardly, so a little bit concerning. We've drawn wide again, but Nashville in the saddle, and he's a big race jockey, and he knows her now, and we're hoping for a little bit more luck than last start. She got trapped 3 deep without cover over the 1200 last start, and was just a little bit disappointed in the run of line. She's only beaten 2 lengths, but she had every excuse, being 3 deep against this sort of horse of quality of Briasa. She had to get, I suppose, tired at some point, but over the 1400, different tempo, we're hoping, and we can have a big finish.
And she's a Group 1 winner and capable of big things. Of course, the Rupert Clark Stakes in November.
Yeah, multiple placed in Group 1 level as well, but I'm just a bit concerned the gate today. If we'd have drawn 2 or 3, Tim, I'd be saying, look, today's our day, but you rely on luck now, and against this quality opposition, you've only got to be in the wrong position for half of the race, and you're going to have horses that have got big finishes on them. They've got, this is a really good race, and so confidence is high as far as the conditions she's in, but it's just wish she'd have drawn a softer barrier.
In terms of other runners of the day, Tenderize in the first, coming off a win last start.
He's had good preparation this prep. I think he had 22 starts for 1 win, and then he's put 3 out of 4 together this preparation. So he's worked out how to do it. He's found a little bit of a tricky barrier today again, and there's going to be more speed on. So he's gone up in weight, bad barrier, a little bit more speed on, a little bit of a question mark over whether he can stay in this winning run. But when horses are winning, in particular the way he has been winning, he's been doing it tough and really fighting back. You've got to be confident that they're going to turn up and go again. He's been in great order since his last win, and if he gets any luck early, he gets through the first half of the race at a steady tempo, I'm sure he'll be in the finish. NCAP's
going to be right there in the finish today. Great run in the Doncaster. Short today, or short-ish?
Yeah, look, 2,000 metres is the only query. If he runs out the 2,000, I think he's the best performed horse in the races. Group 1 form all round him. He's only won 2 races, won 1.4 million, and a lot of his prize money's come from seconds and thirds in Group 1 racing. So he's up there with the best horses, but he just hadn't had a lot of luck. 2,000 metres sees him from a good gate, hopefully be midfield. And his closing sectionals last start, the Doncaster, he went 33.5. If he does that at the end of 2,000 metres, then he's going to be very, very hard to beat. But just that question mark over the 2,000. But the way he's been racing, he's been screaming out to put him in a race where he can actually settle and pick up and get to the line rather than be chasing him all the way.
You've also got Kintyre in the last, but I actually want to ask you about your plans post-autumn. You're heading to Japan and you're taking some people on a lovely little tour over there, I see.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It was sort of a plan of mine to get to Japan and hopefully see Sheila Rain and Fireburn at the Northern Farm there. And it came along where Gulliver Travel have asked us to head a tour. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. So we go to a couple of race meetings, we go to the farm. It's a World Expo's on at the same time, so it's a really good trip. So anyone wants to get involved, go to our website, portelliracing.com.au, and we can help you out there. But it's a trip of a lifetime to actually get onto Northern Farm. It's the most incredible farm in the world, apparently. I haven't been there yet, obviously, but looking forward to it and to see two of our great Golden Slipper winners there. It'll be an absolute treat.
What date are we leaving? Racing Dreams Japan, live from the Northern Farm.
Straight after Carnival. Let's go. Come on, pack your bags.
I reckon I could probably be available for that trip.
Yeah,
We're due an overseas trip.
As long as you can take a 2.5-year-old, Julie.
Well, we need a big name on the bus. We need a big name on the bus. Come on, Julie.
We'll get TG on the bus.
What about Kintyre? Reasonable at odds?
Yeah. Yeah, look, he's odds because of his barrier. Again, we just had a horrible day of barriers other than NCAP. It's a big field. We'll probably have to ride him quietly, but we'll obviously by race 10 we'll have an idea of how the pattern of racing is and how the track's playing. You know, he can come from behind, he can race on the pace, but more than likely from that gate we might be pretty negative, but we've got Craig Williams in the saddle, a genius, and he'll be able to work out the best way to get him through the field or around them. The Hawkesbury Cup's in 2 weeks for him, so if it's not today, watch for him 2 weeks' time. If anything goes to plan today, he is going absolutely enormous and he can win. But again, barriers, luck come into play, and I hate relying on luck.
Yeah, we all do. Gary, good to chat. Thanks for all your support through the autumn. Enjoy Japan, and we'll chat soon.
And thank you to you guys too. It's been good that we've been competitive enough to be invited on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, always.
Thanks, Gary. We'll see you soon. Well, there is a huge amount of excitement at Team Hawks ahead of the final day of the carnival today, and rightly so.
Oh, absolutely, Jules. They are all fired up about their chances today in the all-aged and Champagne. I caught up with Wayne.
Now the grey Briasa gets going inside the 200 overpass, a length clear from Briasa, breathing down his neck. Overpass being tackled by Briasa the outside. Briasa goes to overpass. Briasa overpass. Briasa won the TJ.
Wayne Hawks, Briasa, you got a break news with us. Got an Everest start.
Well, you know what? I'm sure he'll be running in the Everest, but we just haven't locked in a slot yet. But lots of friends though at the moment, so it's a great position to be in. But he's just got to. It's a few months away yet, and you know one thing, Tim, you never get ahead of yourself in this racing game. But it's exciting, and he's not the only good horse that's going to be in the Everest. Gee, it's going to be one hell of a race, that, and no doubt it's Sydney's premier race. It's one of the greatest races in the world of racing now, and hopefully Briasa can be a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All-age stakes, though, that's what we need to focus on. And look, after that run a couple of weeks ago, just extraordinary.
Yeah, it was a big effort. You know, if you think back to the Galaxy first up, he drew the bad barrier. He wasn't brilliant out the gates, and he went back to last and rocketed home, and he drew inside in the TJ and flew out like a gazelle. So it's quite amazing. First up, he wasn't quick away and drew a good gate in the TJ, and you saw what he did. And the difference between him and Overpass is such a high quality horse, but he's a very experienced horse, whereas our bloke only last spring was winning benchmark 84s on the Kenzo. So Overpass is no easy horse to get past, and he's hard and seasoned. So we thought it was a great victory, and just looking forward to the all-age stakes, and then he'll have a rest and get ready for the Everest.
Now, the last time that we saw you and your brother get highly emotional was when someone did their back after Estajar won the Golden Slipper. Correct. It was pretty emotional to win. You guys, it meant a lot, this one.
You know what? We've had a quiet couple of years, and won the Blue Diamond. It was a bit emotional there, and then it was again the other day. And Michael rang me one day and said, "I found him." I said, "Found what?" He said, "I found the horse." I said, "What is it?" He said, "The unraced grey horse." I said, "Oh, here we go, here we go." He said, "No, I'm telling you." He said, "This is a proper horse." I said, "Really?" He said, "He looks like he's a seriously good horse," and that was when he was unraced. So Michael put his art in his sleeve early, and the Johnsons are a great family. They're not a well-known family in the racing industry, but breeding horses for 40 years and never had a city winner. So to go from never having a city winner to having arguably the best sprinter in the land, I think the best way to describe it was when Anthony Johnson texted Michael after the TJ the next day and said, "This is only just starting to sink in now, what that horse did for us." So I don't think they really realised at the time how good he potentially was, but winning the TJ, it all sunk in for them. So they're a great family, and you know, breeding for 40 years and never having a city winner, Tim, talk about persistence.
To give it a little bit of perspective, and I know we have a joke and we have a laugh, but this industry, it demands hard work, it demands early hours, inhospitable times. So when the good times happen on a Saturday afternoon when you're all frocked up, it's not hard for the emotion to come to the surface.
True. I always look at it like the middle of winter, pouring with rain, trainers are at the barriers, pushing that 2-year-old in that won't quite go on the gates and try and educate him. You're not getting much love and much help then, but you're right. It all comes out on race day because it's grand final. Whether it's AFL grand final, NRL grand final, it is the grand final for to win those big races. And to be fair, some of these races are bigger than others. And to win a TJ, well, before the Everest, a TJ was the greatest sprint race in the country. So to win the best sprint race in the autumn was special. And on the back of Chautauqua winning 3 and Black Caviar winning a few of them as well. It's Trapeze Artist, and it's a good horses race. If you look at the history, as I just said, it shows you only good horses win this race.
Did Chautauqua flash back to you when you won the other day?
No, because this bloke jumps out the gates well at the moment, so I haven't gone down that path. But the truth, the Sydney stable have always called him 2.0. So he doesn't have to be as good as Chautauqua, but one thing he can do is he can actually jump and posse into a position, and Chautauqua was hopeless. We know that out of the gates. Quote Tommy Berry, just let him flop out the gates, do what he wants for the first 600, get the 600 and go, righto, let's get to work. Whereas Briassa can draw a great barrier, bang, he can lead, box seat, and quite versatile. And the other thing that Briassa does well is he likes wet tracks, so there's not much he doesn't like, and I suppose that's why he's a good horse.
Nepotism starting to wind up. Tupacaro taking a run between them. Next Gen's too far back. Savvy Halley being joined by Nepotism, and Nepotism takes the lead late. And despite the betting drift, Nepotism too strong for Savvy Halley.
Finally, a Nepotism, and I don't mean finally because it's the last thing we should talk about, because this is another talented horse, favourite in the Champagne or right up there.
Yeah, he's favourite in the Champagne, and his win was fantastic. The other day on the Saturday meeting, transferred to the Tuesday, won well, and in the start before that, he ran third in his first start in the best 2-year-old lead-up race to the Slipper, and arguably should have run closer. So he didn't get a run in the Slipper. That's probably going to work in our favour, to be fair. He won the B-grade race the other day, and now it's going to be a Group 1, Champagne. So we've been patient with this bloke. He's a son of Broodle who won a Doncaster, so you do feel like a proud dad when you see the sons and daughters of the ones that you've trained, like, Broodle, son of Broodle, going and doing its job. It's a great thrill as a horse trainer to have a good horse, but when you've been tied up with the family previously, it's a bigger thrill again.
Absolutely. Last day of the Sydney Autumn could be some kind of party.
A soft finish for us, but the Autumn Carnival might come to a close, but we'll just keep punching on. But it's been a great carnival for everyone, really, and probably I think one of the biggest things is Sydney can be pretty wet and ordinary, and in the autumn, and we haven't copped too much bad weather, to be fair. So racing's the winner, and we've got a lot of good young horses coming through the industry, so good times ahead.
Good to have your company. This is Racing Dreams. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have anything on this Saturday, head out to Royal Randwick. It's a
cracking day for it. 2 Group 1s on a 10-race card at Royal Randwick for the final meeting of the Sydney Autumn Carnival. Shane O'Cass from the Daily Telegraph. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jules. Good morning, Timmy. Yeah, you mentioned the weather. Hasn't it been a fabulous end of the carnival anyway. The 3 weeks that we had at Randwick were all fantastic, sun shining, good weather. You know, the Tancred obviously had to be moved to the Tuesday, but after that, it's just been perfect, and so's the track, so's the racing.
Absolutely. Well, you'd have to say the all-age stakes race today is almost, if not the best, one of the best of the carnival. It's a cracking race.
100%. It's an interesting race, Timmy, because a few years back we used to get sort of 6, 7, 8 runners because there wasn't a lot of prize money involved. Most of the horses, the good ones, were all spelling. But they're hanging around for this one because it's worth $1.5 million. It's got a capacity field. It's probably got an Everest runner. Briasa. We've seen a lot of him this morning. I think we're going to see a lot of him this afternoon as well because he is one of the rising stars of racing at the moment, along with Private Harry. This win in the TJ was absolutely fantastic. This is a race that Hawksy's other grey, Chautauqua, won 3 times. I mean, this horse is not Chautauqua, but as Wayne Hawkes just said in the interview there, he's got a different racing pattern, and that's going to take him a long way, particularly if he gets to the Everest, which all intents and purposes he will. He's going to be able to race in that mid-pack rather than have to do something heroic. So we haven't got to the bottom of him yet, Briasa. He's already one Group 1 winner. Could be a dual Group 1 winner after today.
And the presence of broadsiding in this race today as well makes it very interesting.
It does. A 3-year-old in the race. They've got a pretty good record in the all-age stakes of 3-year-olds. I remember All Too Hard won it 10 years ago. It's a very similar horse. He's won 5 Group 1s already, has broadsiding. And the more races he wins with a G1 next to them, the higher his service fee is going to be. But he's still got a fair bit of racing left to do. And his win in the Rosehill Guineas was fantastic, primarily because he beat a horse called Aliana, who we saw come out and win the Derby by absolute panels. So all the good form this year in the 3-year-old category has been around broadsiding. So we've probably got the best 3-year-old, or not probably, we've certainly got the best 3-year-old colt in the all-age stakes today.
Team Hawks could be having some kind of party and the champagne corks may be popping because they've also got nepotism in the champagne stakes.
Well, it's going to be a massive day, hopefully, for Team Hawks, or the punters certainly hope so. Nepotism, he's the nephew, if you like, of Black Caviar, also the nephew of All Too Hard, one of Hawksy's horses I just mentioned, won the all-age stakes. Now, this is a horse that was an emergency for the Golden Slipper. He didn't make the field, and you've got to wonder what might have happened if he did make the field, guys, because after he was in his box on Slipper Day, he came out and won the Bailoo extremely impressively. He's a nice horse, and he's always wanted a mile. His father won the Doncaster for John Hawkes, Brutal. So he's going to relish the Randwick Mile. He's a very short price favourite, or he's a short price favourite. He's not that short, but he's just drawn a bit awkwardly. And with the rail out today, nobody's really sure if you're going to be able to make up ground from last, but we'll find out with Nepotism.
What about the Frank Packer Plate? Is this the day for Swift Falcon?
Well, you'd like to think so. I'm sure the Hawkses would like to think so, because the horses that have beaten Swift Falcon are all, dare I say, champions. Broadsiding, Aliana, even Linebacker. So he's run into some pretty good horses, and the problem for Swift Falcon so far has either been bad luck or he's been too far back. But look, you can't change the horse's pattern. That's the way he races. You've got to ride him cold in the first half and let him flood home in the last bit. And, with all those horses missing, surely this is the day for Swift Falcon. He's $1.80, which is probably a good price considering those other horses that are not going to be there to take him on this afternoon.
Yeah, look out for the Hawks team at a restaurant near you. Now, Nathan Doyle, talk about a name that's come to the surface through this autumn.
Yeah, well, Nathan Doyle's the first trainer through to the Everest this year. His horse, Private Harry, was first horse picked. And how could you not have Private Harry in an Everest? He's unbeaten. He's an absolutely incredible horse. And as we mentioned last week, Nathan Doyle's a young trainer that is very much on the move in the public. He's very well known in racing for placing his horses well. He's got another unbeaten horse racing today, guys. It's called Churchill's Choice. She kicked off at Scone, about 10 or 12 to 1 when she won, surprised everybody bar the trainer, and she's just kept winning since then. She's only had the 2 starts after that. Nathan's been very kind to her. He's put her away after that last Randwick win with a winter in mind. But look, she's out there to play today. She's $17. Nathan's not riding her off. Thinks she's going to run a really good race. And look, always got to beware the unbeaten horse because we don't know what their ceiling is.
Before we let you go, tell us, what has been your highlight of the autumn?
Well, my highlight, I could go with the obvious and say Via Sistina, but I won't because that was a marvellous effort. But I'm a big fan of Aliana. I'm not the only one. I think this filly is an absolute superstar. It's very rare that we see a filly even contest an AJC Derby against the Colts and Geldings. But not only did she contest it, but she absolutely gave them a cold. I mean, this is one of the best wins of the autumn. Certainly one of the best wins we've seen in an AJC Derby by a colt or a filly. And look, she's trained by the master, Chris Waller. And in a couple of years' time, Via Sistina won't be there. Lady Shendoa might not be be there. This could be the filly that we're talking about in Queen Elizabeth's and Cox Plates and Caulfield Cups and even Melbourne Cups, you know, in years to come. I mean, you know, she could be a champion.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll mark that down. We'll mark that down. Good to see you. We'll see you soon.
Well, I'll be seeing you tomorrow, Timmy, 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the other side of the camera, because I understand the first of your Hong Kong series is on the first part, and I believe the Mark Newnham stuff is absolutely unmissable.
Look, yeah, if you love horse racing, 5 p.m. tomorrow, Racing Dreams Hong Kong. Thanks for that unsolicited plug. I really appreciate it as well. And we'll see you in the Daily Telegraph.
Look forward to it.
Shano Cass.
Thanks, Shano. Well, as the curtain draws on another wonderful autumn carnival, we start to look forward.
Just a few months' time, of course, the spring will be around and our eyes will be focused on the richest race on turf, the Everest.
Redzel puts his head in front now. Then Kane deploy Redkirk Warrior. Bray smashes, ducking and weaving. Chautauqua 6 off them, but Redzel's burst clear at the 100 metres. Vega Magic, Bray Smash running on, then Tulip, but Redzel, he's home in the Everest. Redzel leads all the way.
Well, there he was, Redzel winning the very first Everest back in 2017. It's hard to believe next year it will be the 10th running of the Everest. We have the 9th, of course, between now and then. But the man that was involved with Redzel back then 10 years ago, or nearly 10 years ago, James Harron. Can you believe next year will be 10, a decade on?
That's incredible, actually, Tim. It does not feel 10 years. Obviously, we've got like you said, we've got a little bit to go, a year in between. But yeah, it was fantastic. And by, of course, the mighty Schnitzel, who has not slowed down at all on the racetrack.
With the autumn just wrapping up now, all eyes start to look towards the Sydney Spring, and it's a conversation which happens all around the world.
Yeah, look, it's quite extraordinary. I think it's the only race we start talking about it pretty much the afternoon after it's been run. You know, we start thinking about what's going to be backing up the next year, and of course we've got some pretty exciting additions potentially this year, so it just gets more and more exciting.
Let's talk about a couple of those. Kaying Rising, racing in Hong Kong in the Hayes stable.
Yeah, look, he's a very exciting horse. We've seen horses from overseas try and conquer the Everest and haven't made much of an impression, but this guy might be a bit different. He's doing some freaky things, he's running some amazing times. Of course, he's got David Hayes training him, who's been so successful here in Australia and knows what it takes to win at the highest level in the sprint races here. So yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully he gets here in really good order and we can test him out against our best sprinters.
Private Harry becomes a general in the Group 1 Galaxy.
And we've got another one with a bit of a fairy tale story with a Newcastle trainer already in.
Obviously, Private Harry has been fantastic, an unbeaten colt. Yulong have purchased a share in him. His trainer Nathan Doyle's managed this horse just so beautifully, and yeah, he'll be a real force to be reckoned with. You'll know he's there. They know they've got into the race now. They'll be planning everything around it. So, yeah, look, it's a good start. It's a good foundation already laid for the race.
You've brilliantly and put a lot of work into building your bloodstock company. Sunshine in Paris got knocked down to you, and Sunshine in Paris will be there with John Camilleri as his own slot in the Everest.
Yeah, look, she's been a marvel. She's been amazing since John and the Camilleri family bought her, and she'll take her place in the all-aged, all being well, and she's running extremely consistently. She's a wonderful will to win, you know, and she's a wonderful mare now, and giving everyone a lot of fun.
Sales season, it sort of comes to a close. It's been extraordinary, 20% up with the final Easter sale.
Yeah, look, it's been a much stronger, more robust market than I think most anticipated. From January, of course, at Magic Millions in Queensland, through to New Zealand, back to Sydney, out to Melbourne, back here for the finale at the Easter sale. So it's been a really robust marketplace. Racing's obviously very healthy here in New South Wales, and people want to restock. They need horses and they want good horses, and they've come here to buy them.
What's the highlight for you of you've bought a few horses? Is there one that stands out for you that we could look out for in the future? Possible Everest winner?
Yeah, look, that's the dream, of course.
That's the racing dream, James.
That's the racing dream, and that's what it's all about. You've got to be in it to win it. And look, we've picked up 3 colts so far. One by Schnitzel, who we mentioned earlier, who's a cracking colt out of La Mexicana. We picked up a Stay Inside, who was a slipper winner himself. He's having his first crop of yearlings, and just got a really lovely Zoostar colt, who's a brother to Schwartz that won the William Reid just last week. So On top of that, a Schnitzel filly. So we've had really good shopping, beautiful animals, and we're very fortunate. We've got a great group of owners behind us who support me to come out and buy these horses, and hope we can have a lot of fun, a lot of success in the racetrack.
Autumn and spring in Sydney is truly international. Can you believe the success of William Haggis? Every time you mention his name, of course he raced for the Queen. One of the names in world horse racing, isn't it?
Quite extraordinary, Tim, when you look at his stats and the amount of horses he's brought over that have, equated into winners. So he's put a lot of work into the team at home. It's a large yard in England, so they've handpicked what they believe will work here. They haven't just come here with a big plethora of horses. It's been very thought out, very well managed, and it's wonderful to watch. And I think that the punters have woken up to it. When William Haggis brings one out, you got to pay it a lot of respect.
Finally, what about the health of the industry at the moment? How do you see it?
Yeah, look, like I just sort of touched on earlier, it's been quite buoyant. The market's been good. It's a little bit more selective, but across the board, there's been really good demand for the nice horses. I think everyone's going to walk away from the yearling sales series with good confidence, and with our prize money and just the racing culture here we've got is very much in a really good place. So it's exciting times ahead, and hopefully we'll have some of these horses you'll see all around the complex today being the next future stars.
Great to have your company on Racing Dreams, the people you run into at a horse sale. Last time I spoke to Johnny McKeever, we were at Newmarket in England, and John, you buy horses for all sorts of people. Gay and Adrian, many others ride around the world, but let's focus on Gay and Adrian, because two horses this autumn, Alicante and Royal Patronage, you bought them.
Yeah, they came from Tattersalls Newmarket, exactly where you met me last time. And Alicante actually came from the December sale, the one that's there for a few racing fillies and mainly breeding stocks, broodmares and whatever. And I rang Gay and said, there's a beautiful filly here, she's grey. And Gay said, if she's grey, that's fantastic, because I've got a fellow who wants to buy a grey horse. So that's how lucky you get sometimes, and she's been an absolute revelation in the staying ranks this summer and autumn, and I'm not remotely surprised she has been, because she had the most beautiful pedigree. She's very closely related to Alpinista, who won the Arc, and Albanova, and a fantastic family that Kirsten Rousing developed in England over many, many years. So these English stayers, when they come from those sort of families, they really have it in their genes, they have it in their blood, they're fantastic stayers.
Alicante is galloping them into submission yet again. Charging home at the end is Birdman. Birdman will run second. Alicante a big winner. 3 out of 3 this preparation. Alicante beats Birdman. Oh, what a great staying mare she's proven to be in Australia at Alicante.
What about Royal Patronage?
Well, Royal Patronage, a different sort of horse. He had an amazing career. He won 2 group races in England as a 2-year-old when trained by Mark Johnson. And then he ran in the English Derby. He came second in the Dante, ran in the English Derby, didn't run very well. Obviously, sort of what he was saying to the trainer was, I don't stay that far. So the people who owned him, which was Highclere Thoroughbred Racing, sent him out to America to train him out there. They did win a race at Keeneland with him, but then he didn't follow up with the next win. They put him in the sale. We just fell in love with how beautiful a looking horse he was, and he was by Wootton Bassett, and everything was going so strong for Wootton Bassett. And brought him out, and he just took to Australia like a duck to water.
Here to Shock and Royal Patronage clear from Magic Time. Royal Patronage here to Shock, slugging it out, and Royal Patronage got the upper hand and won the Canterbury Stakes. Well, there you go, Royal Patronage, who won the Tramway first up in the spring, winning the Canterbury Stakes at Group 1 level first up here today. Trained by Gay and Adrian. That's been a brave win, really serving it up to here to Shock, and was a little bit too strong closing stages.
Now, you're an Irishman that lives in Newmarket and travels the world. One of your fellow individuals from Newmarket is the name William Haggis. Can you believe the impact William Haggis has had on the Sydney Autumn?
I can believe it because I know William well, and there's no greater trainer around than William Haggis, and he's always had a fascination with Australia. He's discovered there's a certain sort of horse that does incredibly well down here, and when you see William Haggis and Tom Marquand on the race card, watch out, because probably something big is about to happen.
And something big has happened many, many a time. Great interview there, Timmy.
He's a great talker, as is William Haggis. And if you ever get the opportunity, people watching the show love horses, love horse racing, and you're in England, take the train trip up and go to Newmarket. I think it's the only place in the world where horses still have the right of way. It's a cracking place where they're all based.
Well, let's continue to talk about horses this morning. Joining us now is Racing New South Wales, Mark Brussell. Happy Easter to you, Mr. Brussell.
Happy Easter.
Welcome to the long and the short, ladies and gentlemen.
Pleased to be here. It's great, yeah. Easter Saturday, can't wait. Beautiful day outside and cracking meeting out at Royal Randwick.
Yeah, great day for racing. Now, Mark, you've gone Snow in May as your long shot race for number 3. Tell me.
Well, I'm probably 2 weeks too early, but Snow in May, she gets back. I'm just a little bit worried about the rail today, 5 metres and 6 metres out. She gets back and I don't know how the track's going to play, but if you see her here, she's in black and red, buried behind horses. She gets into a bit of a bumping duel, gets out, runs home, but this was a very strong race. It was on a heavy track. She's never seen a heavy before. Back to the soft 6, maybe a soft 5 by the middle of the day. But yeah, her form before that, she won the Canberra Guineas. I think she'll run a big race. She's double figure odds.
I'm going to go for Marzu, not as long as double figures. I think around that $6, $7 of quality racehorse. We'll have a look at a replay from Marzu winning this exact race last year. The only knock is that the track was, I think, a heavy 9 that day, and Marzu loves the wet, but it's still a soft 6. We've had a lot of sun, and it's still a soft 6. So I am going to have a little, just a little, all care no responsibility, on Marzu, maybe $1 each way.
It has been a little bit of wet weather around Sydney this week too, but the sun is certainly shining out there today. For my long, not so long this week, but I've gone with broadsiding in the...
So long. $1.04. No, I'm kidding.
That's not true. That's not true. He comes off the back of that classy win at Rose Hill last start ahead of Aliana and Swift Falcon. He's about the $6.50 mark. So that's long-ish.
Yeah.
Not as long.
I think it's come into $4.50, but that's okay. That's still in the bracket.
Start of the week.
I'm not being critical.
Longer.
I'm just having a little bit of fun after Shane O'Cass tipped us a long shot at $2.10 last week. Anyway, your short is Buffalo.
Just to finish, James Cummings said it worked sensational on Tuesday, broadsiding. There you go. Okay. I'm with, Buffalo. Buffalo, I reckon he'll charge late. Sorry for that pun. But, you're picking him up, purple and white here. Steams down the outside. He gets balked a couple of times.
Was that good? I didn't even get it.
But watch it. Buffalo charge.
I got it now.
Look at him charge down the outside. One more stride, he wins this race. But as again, he's going to get back. But I tell you what, if he puts this in again, he'll get the cash and the champagne. He's about $7, $7.50.
All right, 2.0 I'm going for. At no great surprise, Briasa in the all-age stakes today. Briasa, all things being equal, will be in the Everest. Extraordinary couple of finishes. I love grey horses, and I think Briasa's just going to win. Jules?
Well, that's what we're after here, isn't it? It'll be very interesting to see who picks up Briasa for this year's Everest, because he deserves his spot there. Well, for my short, now that we watch that race finish up, I'm going with Team Hawkes again. Nepotism, race 7, number 2 in the Champagne Stakes. Comes off a comfortable win here. You can see quite heavy conditions again in this race at Rose Hill last run. Just his 3rd start. This is the cousin of Black Caviar.
Yeah, okay. All right, so there you go. A few tips, all care, no responsibility. As we say, I'm very much looking forward to going down to the Wagga Gold Cup. I know that you're going down, going to be down there in a couple of weeks' time. But what about from a highlight perspective this autumn?
Well, as you say, going down to Wagga, I love going to these country meetings. They're fantastic. I think I'm a country boy in a suit, city suit. But my highlight's got to be Know Thyself. Aaron Bullock, you'll see it down the outside here in the red and white. Nails Liz Tamana right on the line. Now, Aaron Bullock is one of the hardest working jockeys you'll ever see. He rides 57, 58, so he's a bit of a heavyweight, but This is his biggest win of his life. And something interesting he said afterwards, like, this is a $1 million race. He said, I've often wondered how, when jockeys come back, how they know they win in a photo like that. The PA system goes to the crowd, so all they hear is muffled. They don't know until they actually get to the winning post, they can see the semaphore. So how do they know? Aaron Bullock said, I looked across, there was a TV drone, and it followed every move. He said straight away, a couple of expletives, I've won this $1 million race, and he knew, just from the drone.
So good. Yeah. Such a good story and such a good season. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Brassel. Have a lovely Easter.
We'll
Happy
see you
Easter
for Racing Dreams in the springtime.
Absolutely, Everest. Yep.
All right, buddy.
Can't wait.
Have a good Easter.
Here before we know it. Well, we say it every week, and there is a reason. You can't really give it your all in this industry unless you love the horse, the animal themselves.
Absolutely, Jules. They are the centrepiece, of course, of this great industry. So many people get involved in their amazing care, including the legendary vet, Johnny Walker.
At 1,100,000, at 1,100,000, she's the filly that can take you to the slipper. At 1 million, at 1.2 now, get a bit now, get a bit now, at $1 million.
Equine welfare, very important part of this industry. Johnny Walker, you're a vet. You've been doing this with racehorses for 32 years.
I'm getting old, Tim, that's for sure. Yes, been a long time. Horses exclusively for about 30 of those. And I've been lucky enough to work with some really good horses and some great trainers and obviously some great stud farms as well.
Well, we're here at Newgate at the moment. This is an extreme choice filly. We'll talk more generally, then talk about a few of the superstars that you've worked with, but it is a bit like looking after a brilliant sports team, isn't it?
Absolutely, and here we are at the sales, obviously, and we've got potentially great athletes here that have been nurtured, from birth or conception even, and have been looked after extraordinarily well right from that. And of course, once they get sold under the fall of a hammer, they come into the training system, and once again they looked after within an inch of their lives. It's exactly right, Tim. It's like looking after a football team. They've got all the bells and whistles that go along with that. Doctors, as in vets, physios, nutritionists, farriers, all very important part of the team. And these horses are looked after with an inch of their life.
And one of the things is, you can't do your role unless you love horses, can you? You live with horses. You've got a property where you've got horses.
You can't be any good at it unless you love the animal. For those of us that live, eat and breathe the game, we adore these animals. We get up early, we go to bed late, and as I say, we take great care of these horses because we love them. Yes.
And they love to run.
They absolutely do.
They love to talk as well.
They love to run. They really do. If they didn't, they wouldn't do it.
As we saw with Chautauqua.
Well, I think he just got sick of it in the end, yeah. But he was telling us that he'd had enough, and he certainly gave a lot of people a lot of pleasure. Great racehorse who's enjoying a really, really good life after racing. Absolutely, yeah.
What about some of the superstars that you work with?
Oh, I've been lucky to work with some really good ones. Back in the day when I was looking after Lee Freedman stuff in Melbourne, we had plenty of them. Mackay won a couple of Melbourne Cups for Lee. Alingi was a champion, won a Newmarket, beat Fastnet Rock in a memorable race. Miss Andretti, we took her to Royal Ascot and she won over there. She's a great racehorse. And before that I was in Sydney, I did a lot of work for Gay. She trifected the slipper when Ha Ha won it, which is a pretty impressive feat, I must admit.
Ha Ha in front, Red Hennigan's emerging late, Accelerator kicks on, but it's Ha Ha Slipper. Ha Ha's won the Golden Slipper.
And more recent times, one of the the foundation stallions at Newgate, Capitalist, I was lucky enough to look after him. He's a beautiful horse.
But Capitalist, the Magic Millions winners, drawn clear in the slipper. Yankee Rose home in a second, but Capitalist takes it out.
There's a certain magic to it. Our show's called Racing Dreams, and they do come true in many ways.
Oh, they absolutely do. There was, the horse that won Private Harry that won the other day. He was sold for not a lot of money, and he's an unbeaten colt. He's I don't know the number, but someone put $15 million on him the other day. I mean, that's the stuff that dreams are made of. Came off a small farm down the Southern Highlands, and his owners are just knockabout people, and they're living the dream, large. And you see the racing that we had there on Saturday at Randwick. It was fantastic racing, very competitive. It really is the stuff dreams are made of. And for those of us that work in the game and love these horses, actually getting up and going to work every day is, we're living the dream.
Boy, it's gone quick, hasn't it, this autumn? I can't quite believe we're at the final day of the carnival.
We are indeed at Royal Randwick today. Glorious conditions as well. Good morning to you, Nick Burney in the Sky Racing studio. How you doing?
Hello to you, Tim and Julie. I'm good. I'm very excited actually for today. Look, it's the last day of the carnival, but I've found a lot of value later in the day, especially in the big one, the Group 1 All-Age Stakes. The track's going to play perfectly. I'm ready to bet right up today and get some cash in the last day of the carnival.
All right, now what's your best bet?
We'll go the best bet, and I still think it's just great odds. I've marked this horse clear favourite. It's race 6, number 6 in New Endeavour. So Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, and we're going to pull up the replay now. Now, it's the horse back in the just third there in the blue hat, just coming out to win the race. Now, the thing with this horse, you have a look at its first up run in the form guide, and it was well beaten that day, but it had a lot of excuses. It was in a slowly run race. Now, all of a sudden, it stayed at the 1,500 metres, and this was a very fast tempo race. So it just had to give out there that last 100 metres, but now it gets out to the 2,000 metres, and all of its best runs have been over the 2,000. Tim Clark goes on, third up. I think we'll go straight to the front. It's ready to peak, and I think this has been a bit of a target race by the Waterhouse and Bott stable, so I think it's a great bet to have around that $4.60 mark.
All right, who's your next best today?
Yeah, slightly shorter here, but I think this is ready now, Clean Energy. So it was a good winner too back there at Moonee Valley where it had to defy the bias that day. But the thing about this horse is it's been over 1,200 metres its last 2 runs. I think she's screaming for the 1,400 metres. So you break down her sectionals and her last 200-metre splits say she is ready to go. She gets a significant barrier change. So what I mean by that is she was drawn wide this day and she was caught wide throughout the run. But today, she's drawn in. She can just jump and lead, or if Lilac, the horse to her inside there in the red, wants to lead her up, she can just sit right in behind and really conserve her energy, come out at about the 300-metre mark, and she has a turn of foot. So she can be too strong for that runner late. And I think it's go time. As I said before, I'm following Tim Clark a lot today with that Waterhouse Bott yard. So happy to be with that runner earlier on in the day.
I do want to ask you a question without notice, then we'll get to your value bet. I want to get a little bit of a snapshot of Sunshine in Paris today, because it is a really interesting field, the All-Age Stakes, and we've been talking about possible and certain Everest runners. And as long as Sunshine in Paris does the job, she will be there for John Camilleri.
Absolutely, she'll be there. She just hasn't drawn a gate. So she has to be drawn wide again. She's probably going to have to get a long way back. But I think the 1,400 metres might be up her alley. But I thought she was great in that Everest. I think if she runs well again here today, and look, I think there's definitely a slot for her. And look, she's such a line chaser as well, Sunshine in Paris. So you have to see her in the race, definitely back in October coming up. But she'll be one of the ones hitting the line hard if they overdo it up in front.
All right, well, let's look to your value bet today, and it comes in the Hallmark Stakes.
Yeah, I love this horse. It's Coal Crusher for Joe Pride, and this horse is a pattern horse. So this is the Sydney Stakes when he was third up last campaign. So overpassed the leader there, won this race. Now, this was actually on Everest Day, and the Sydney Stakes ran fast to time. But Coal Crusher's back to the inside there in the aqua blue colours, and they went at such a fast tempo, and he just kept trying all the way to the line. Now, today, they put the blinkers on this horse, and Coal Crusher's all about pattern, as I said. So when those blinkers go on, you see the best of Coal Crusher. There's been a couple of scratchings over the past few days, and then this morning, I think Coal Crusher will go straight to the front today, really controlled that tempo. And I think he just might run his rivals ragged. I think $8 each way all day. Clearly the best each way bet on the program. I'm really keen to be with Coal Crusher.
I think they'd really be happy too, because I think quite a bit of the Joe Pride family owns Coal Crusher. Now, what about your feature race tip? Gary Portelli, be happy with this?
Yeah, look, I could have probably almost defaulted to Briasa, the favourite, who gets every possible chance. But I think Komachi is just way, way over the odds here. And look, they all come through this TJ Smith Stakes, so you get a good lead in. But Komachi's the horse in the green there, in the Yulong colours. And the black hat, so she was posted 3 wide, I should say, out on a limb throughout here, which was a good even speed. But the thing about Komachi is her first run over the 1,000 metres, it was fantastic. Then she had 28 days between this run. So she obviously had to feel the pinch there late, but you can see there she's just out sprinted between that 400 to the 200, but she picks herself back up. Her final 200 metre split was actually the 3rd fastest in the race. So visually you can't really see it, but that just tells me she's ready to go. And she's a Group 1 winner at 1,400 metres. I know that was under handicap conditions. You get Nash on again. I think he might press the button in a race that lacks a little bit of tempo today. And around that $13, $14 mark, I think she's a great bet to have.
All right, get your phones out, get your pen and paper out. Let's roll the graphic now. These are Nick's tips for Randwick today. I'll let you talk us through them, Nick.
Yeah, best bet, race 6, number 6 is New Endeavour. The next best is Clean Energy, race 4, number 1. Value bet, I think, is a good each way, Cold Crush, and race 9, number 13. And in the feature, I'm going with Gary Portelli, Komachi, race 8, number 11.
Well, see, like Julie says, get the phones out.
And then I forgot.
Got her phone out and she took a photo. So, Nick, thank you again. We will see you springtime for Racing Dreams Everest. So, really appreciate everything you've done so far throughout the course of this autumn.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the spring, but most importantly, I hope we back a stack of winners today and we can have some leftover cash to go into the Spring Carnival, Tim.
Oh, I like that
absolutely,
bit of optimism there. Thank you very much, Nick.
Good, and it's good to hear a little bit of Everest talk, isn't it, Jules?
Oh,
We're hearing about horses in and other possible horses. And that's when we'll be next back with Racing Dreams, of course. Springtime, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful autumn.
It has indeed. And thank you, of course, to our sponsors at Racing New South Wales. It has been a wonderful autumn. Great day of racing ahead at Royal Randwick. If you're looking for something to do, get on out there.
Yeah, and have a happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
See you soon. Take care.